Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Empowered Self podcast with me, Krystal Long. And if it's your first time here, you are very welcome. I want to begin today's episode with a reflection that's been sitting with me. When life pulls us away from our center, healing begins with remembering who we truly are. This feels deeply personal to me because returning to center is what has allowed me to reconnect with who I truly am. At my core, I'm Krystal, a coach, a trainer, and a storyteller. Yes, but beyond all the labels, I'm someone who has walked through challenge and found strength in reflection, resilience, and compassion. This podcast is a part of that journey, a way of remembering and sharing, both for myself and for anyone else who might need the reminder that they too can come home to themselves. Life, as we know, has a way of tugging us in all different directions, from responsibilities, deadlines, expectations. Sometimes it feels like being in a small boat on the big open sea. We drift without noticing until suddenly we look around and wonder, how did I get this far from myself? And sometimes that could look like snapping at people we love, ignoring our own needs because we're too busy, forgetting the things that usually light us up. And it doesn't mean we're failing. It just means we're human. Everyone drifts. The key is noticing when we've drifted and then gently beginning the journey back. Remembering who we truly are, I believe healing begins not with fixing ourselves, but remembering ourselves. That might sound big, but often it's very simple. Well, for me anyway. Remembering that we're more than our to-do lists. Remembering our values, what matters most to us, and remembering the version of us that feels calm, kind, and alive. For me, sometimes remembering comes from stepping outside, breathing in the air, and looking up to notice the sky. Other times it's journaling, writing until my thoughts settle and my inner voice returns. The act of remembering is itself healing because it brings us back home. Here are 3 gentle practices that help me to return to my center when life feels overwhelming. The first one, just pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. Even one mindful breath can remind us we have an anchor inside of us. Second, I check in with my values. I'm asking myself, am I living today in a way that honors who I am? And it often shows me where I've drifted. The third one is reconnecting with rituals. Whether it's lighting a candle, journaling, or walking in nature, rituals bring me back to myself. Each of us has our own doorway back to center. The invitation is to notice yours and use it when you need to. If journaling helps you like it helps me, here are some prompts for this week. Where have I pulled away from my center recently? And what helps me to feel grounded and connected again? What values do I want to return to right now? And what's one small ritual can I practice this week to remember who I truly am? Write whatever comes. There's no right or wrong. The act of noticing and reflecting is already part of returning to centre. My invitation for you this week is simple. Notice when you feel pulled away from your centre. Instead of judging yourself, just pause and ask, what would help me remember who I truly am right now? Maybe it's kindness, maybe it's stillness, maybe it's reaching out to someone who sees you clearly. And before we close, a couple of reminders. If you would like to share your own story of resilience, healing, or empowerment, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out at empoweredselfpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find me on Instagram at Krystal Empowered Self. You might even join me as a guest on the show. You can also listen every Wednesday on all the major podcast platforms, and you can also watch the podcast in video format on YouTube. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend, subscribe wherever you listen, and leave a review. Your support really helps this podcast to reach more people who may need these reflections. Thank you for listening, for being part of this journey. Until next time, maybe you can return to your centre and remember the truth of who you are.